This is a review for Management, Test 3, Chapter 7. Let's go. First, we have applicant reactions. So this, you could probably guess, is a job applicant's perspective. So I like to give examples to help us remember. So let's just say you're looking for a job and you want to work at a restaurant. What you might think of Waffle House versus Denny's versus IHOP, all of those would be applicant reactions. Next is assessment center. And so this is a remote place that is provided by an organization for assessments. And in high school, somehow I ended up in an acting class, which was pretty fun. And so I heard a lot of the kids who were going to acting school saying like, oh, we're meeting at this hotel. And I was like, what? But apparently that's just one example of like acting agencies or acting schools will like get a hotel for people to stay at who are auditioning and hold the auditions there. So that would be an example of an assessment center, but this could be like hotels, for athletes, maybe like a field that's not their home field, stuff like that. Next is a behavioral interview. And so this is a kind of interview where applicants are asked how would they handle a certain works related, or how did you handle a situation in the past. So this question, I've been told you get asked at every interview you go to, what is a conflict that you've experienced at work, and then how did you resolve it? So this is a kind of behavioral interview question. So it's your own past and conflict resolution. Next is biographical data, and also known as biodata. This is data specific to employees' personal history or past. And I like to remember the etymology of this. So bio means life, and then graphical means writing. So this is just data writing about one's life or one's past. Next is candidate experience. So this is a term for applicant reactions, but this is from the employer's perspective. So if you have a job interview and let's just say like I'm interviewing someone, I might be like, oh, I hope, applicant number 5 had a good candidate experience. But if I was the applicant, then that would be my applicant reaction. So it's just a perspective difference. There we go. A fourth of the way done. Keep going, y'all. It's only 2 minutes in. Next is a cognitive ability test. So this is an assessment of an applicant's ability to process ideas or create ideas or information. And this is administered usually maybe second round of the interview process to see, kind of how does someone's brain function when given information. And as you could probably guess, Chapter 7 is all about the hiring process. Next is emotional intelligence, and this is one's ability to recognize emotions and behave accordingly. So just a simple example, if someone's sad, you're gonna recognize that. That's step 1, and then the other half would be maybe doing something considerate, something nice, giving them a little pick-me-up gift, and not doing something that might not be unacceptable on a normal day, but you wouldn't want to do it when they're sad. Next is the 5 model factor. And the 2 people who invented this, their names both start with an M, and it's Murray Barrick and Michael Mount. So try to remember that. The 2 M's made the 5-factor model, 5, and that is because there are 5 different factors that I guess would make a good employee would be the best way to put it. And the analogy, the alliteration you can use to remember this is canoe. So C is for conscientiousness, A is for agreeableness, N, neuroticism, O, openness to experience, and E, extroversion. I'll go through them real quick. Conscientiousness is kind of tied to emotional intelligence, and that's being aware of situations happening around you. A is agreeableness, and this isn't just like saying yes, yes, being a pushover, but just generally being open to new ideas, just being kind of a normal person, I guess, I don't know. N would be neuroticism, and so this can be a good or a bad trait, but I guess I would describe it as something where you really want to find the answer to a problem. O would be openness to experience, and so this is being able to be in different environments, try new things. E is extroversion, and so this is a personality trait not needed for all jobs, but that employers might look at, that would include like enthusiasm, willingness to get out of your shell, and just presenting an attitude where you're not afraid of things. 9 is integrity, or number 9, term 9, that's the end of the 5 model factor. Our next term is the integrity test, and this is just a test that assesses honesty. This test can be administered many different ways. Sometimes it's administered through a survey, which of course a dishonest person might not be honest on the survey, so there are other ways like situation analysis and stuff like that, but an integrity test just assesses how honest a person is going to be in the workplace. Next is multiple hurdle approach. So this is a series of selection procedures that are administered in a row, and the way you can remember this is like hurdles, like running is like where you have to hop over the jumps to get to the finish line. So this is like to get the job, you'd have to hop over the tests that are administered right in a row, one after another. 11 is reliability. Just a simple word that means exactly the same thing would be consistency, consistently doing the right thing. Next is a selection interview. This is just a typical job interview. Nothing more, just exactly what you would imagine. Next is a situational interview, and we remember a behavioral interview was what did you do, but situational interview is what would you do. So you can just remember that kind of maybe alphabetically. B comes before and then S after. So before, what did you do? S, what are you gonna do? Next is a structured interview. And this is an interview where all applicants have the same questions. It seems like this might be a little more unbiased, but also might not be as effective as an unstructured interview, which is basically a free-flowing interview, so you're kind of having a conversation with the applicant. Structured, unstructured, you could remember that, you got it. Next is utility. So this is the degree to which something is worth money or time needed. It could also be use the word usefulness. So is something worth the energy, time, or money that you're willing to give for it? Next is validity. So this is the accuracy of the thing that's being measured. And so both of these terms can relate to the tests, like are the tests valid, and is there a utility to the test you're going to administer to decide who you're hiring? Like, is it accurate? Are you measuring something accurately? And is the thing that you're measuring useful information to the hires? And our final term is work sample. So this is an example of an applicant's work. So let's just say I put on my resume, oh, I'm good at swimming. Maybe they'd say, send a video if you doing backstroke. I don't know what swimming. That's not a good example. Here we go. Let's just say I put on my resume, I can do Excel. They might be like, okay, create a pivot table. There we go. That's a better example. But this is chapter 7. I'll upload chapter 8 in a minute, but good luck on the test.